seedlings, again, should be healthy and stocky. Seedlings should show no signs of nutrient deficiency. You don't want to collect no seedlings that are already showing signs of deficiency. In other words, any discoloration leaves due to the lack of them, because normally in nurseries, when you do germinate seeds, that media, that couple of inches out there could only support that seedling for a certain time. So you want to ensure that you have healthy seedlings to start with, because any poor looking seedlings or unhealthy seedlings already reduce, again, the vigor and the vitality of the plant to actually grow and develop. You don't want seedlings that are damaged. Again, that will reduce your acreage in terms of plants planted, and then they would also produce the plants, damaged seedlings will produce the plants as pests and diseases coming in. You want seedlings to have a healthy root mass. When you plant that seedling, you want it to take off. So you want to ensure that the seedling has a healthy root mass, because the root is important in taking up those nutrients. So you want a healthy root mass to ensure the seedling has a healthy root mass that will spread in soil and take up the nutrients and actually start off the growth. Selecting seeds, you want seeds that are vigorous, have high germination percentages, and are certified. We want, when you buy seeds, ensure that seeds are certified. That ensures the quality. So normally when you buy seeds, there's a label telling you the percentage of extraneous matter or in this container, what is germination percentage. That's very important. You always check that there. Right? That is important when you're germinating. You need to know if the seeds are certified. Of course, uncertified seeds cannot guarantee that they are quality seeds. They can't guarantee you will get that germination rate you're looking for. Will again affect your cropping yields. Check the expiration date, as it would affect the seed viability and germination rate. All seeds come with an expiration date. You need to check that, because the closer the seeds get to the expiration date, you reduce the viability of the seed and germination rate. That's very important, because if you plant X amount of seeds per acre, you want to know you're getting your maximum germination rate out of that. So checking the expiration date is very critical in these things. Just ensure the seeds are not close to that date. Again, seeds should not be damaged. Any damaged seeds will result in poor germination. So you want to ensure that your seeds are not damaged. All these things you have to check and ensure that you have good quality seeds, no extraneous material in it, and as I said, the expiration date is not close to the expiration date. Crop selection. You need to monitor crop growth, development, and health. Also, you need to look for signs. Example, if there's any insects and pest disease present, nutritional deficiencies, water stress, weeds. Monitor your crop is very important, because from the time that seed germinates or you plant that seedling, you want to start monitoring your crop to see how it's performing. You want to see if your initial inputs, the crop is getting required nutrition. You look at the crop to see if you're getting enough water. You monitor your soil. You see the moisture content. Weeds, very important. You want to control weeds in the early, because weeds do compete with your crops. Ensure all crop activities are done in a timely manner. Doing things in a timely manner ensures the success of your cropping operation. So you must ensure that all activities are performed in a timely manner. Include crop rotation as part of your program. Crop rotation does a lot in helping manage the soil, and also helps in the suppression and control of weeds in your field, because you always have a cover crop there. So that cover crop, which keeping out the light on the soil, helps suppress weeds. Benefits of crop rotation: breaks pest cycles. If you have an insect pest that's known for the specific crop, you rotate that crop over that cycle, bring a different crop, it breaks that pest cycle. Same thing for disease, it breaks the cycle of that disease. So the disease does not prolong in the environment. Disease and pests only prolong in the environment if you're monocropping. But if you add crop rotation to that, it breaks that cycle, it breaks the weed cycle. In other words, certain crops can compete with weeds. That would help suppress those weeds. Soil nutrients. By doing crop rotation, you help manage the nutrients in the soil, because, like as I said before, certain crops take up certain types of nutrients. So you help manage the nutrients, and also too, because certain crops root in certain depths, you might have a crop that will root within the top 0 to 6 inches, but then you might plant a different crop now which goes even deeper. So that crop accessing the nutrients at the deeper levels. So by doing crop rotation, you're actually kind of managing your soil nutrient levels. Also, you're improving the pore space within that, because when the roots start to explore the soil, they actually create, as I said, biopores, helps for infiltration air availability within that root zone. Very key upon keep records of all activities. All your cropping activities, you need to keep records. You keep records of the field location was planted, date it was planted, the information what was added to the field in terms of amendments and that kind of stuff. Keep records of what you have done in terms of irrigation, fertility, everything you have done within that crop field, you need to keep records, because at the end of the day, you want to be able to come back and assess or evaluate the success of your cropping program. Fertilization, very key for growth and performance of crops. This could only be achieved by timely application and also the placement of fertilizers. Right? You want to establish a fertilizer program for your crop, again, to ensure timely application of nutrients to meet crop needs. In that, when you have your crop settled, you have to know when you're going to fertilize. You have to set that day in program in place, so that if you're not fertilizing, if you have work with fertilizer, you know, well, listen, I'm supposed to apply fertilizer Friday coming here. All of that's documented, so they know when to apply. So you're meeting, you're applying the fertilizer at the time to meet the crop needs. You need to select the appropriate fertilizer for application. That's very critical. You want to select the appropriate fertilizer in terms of if your fertilizer application required for just nitrogen and potassium, you don't want to be applying fertilizer that has phosphorus in it, because you're only calling for nitrogen and potassium. That's what needed for the soil. So that's the application you're recommended to apply. You apply that. So you're applying the right fertilizer. You don't want to apply phosphorus when they need it, because then you'll be over fertilizing and adding additional nutrient that will be just leached within the soil, which could cause problems. So appropriate fertilizer application is proper. Ensure that you have the required fertilizer inputs for your crops. Again, timeliness and your operation is key. You want to have all your inputs, your fertilizer inputs, so that when you start, there's no lapse in between time and applying that fertilizer, because that can make the difference of you crop being successful and making this harvest yields. So make sure you have all your inputs in place. Apply the recommended rates, again, based on a soil test. You don't want to over-fertilize, you don't want to under-fertilize. And a soil test tells you what you need to apply for that particular soil type at that time. So you don't need to be guessing. Right? Because you apply the recommended rates, that saves you too, because you will not need to burn excess fertilizer. And if you don't apply the rates, so if you over-apply fertilizer, it leads to pest and disease problems, because too much fertilizer now, the crop takes up and it weakens the plant, exposed to pests and diseases. Ensure that your application equipment is working and properly calibrated. When you're applying fertilizer, you want to ensure that you're applying the actual rates recommended. You don't want your equipment applying less or more than it's supposed to supply. So ensure that your equipment is calibrated and is working properly. Again, you should always check that before you actually start planting. As I mentioned before, as a checklist, you go over all your equipment tools to ensure that everything is up to speed. Monitoring crops, very important. You look for signs of any nutritional deficiency in the crops. When you go in the field, you inspect your seedlings, you inspect how they're coming up, look at how the plants are growing. Look for any signs of nutritional deficiencies, because that will be an indicator that you might need to adjust your fertilizer program. So you always monitor your crops to see what is going on with them. You don't want to have to suffer any nutritional deficiencies, which again will affect the growth and development. And again, keep records of your fertilizer applications. Records of which field you apply to, what crop you apply to, the rates, and who apply it. Again, because of you keeping records and you realize that you have a nutrition deficiency, you can go back to your records and then say, listen, I need to change this rate. Something's wrong here because my plant's still showing nutrition deficiency. So something's actually going on in that field, so I need to investigate that. So by keeping records, you can pick up on these things and be able to make adjustments in your fertilizer program, which will go a long way in actually ensuring proper growth and development of your crop.